George, it's someone's birthday.
Happy birthday, yeah, my friend.
And that someone will hear a special greeting every morning via the Birthday Club.
Nationwide this morning on the revolution in media.
It's coffee, tea, and everything else
For those who want an energetic, rip-roaring start to their day.
Attention contractors, developers, and homeowners. Glacier White Corian Solid Surface is now at a special price while stocks last. Choose Corian for your commercial and residential projects. You won't regret it. It's durable, beautiful, and long-lasting. No sealing necessary. Corian is the #1 solid surface in the world. Second to none. Visit Home International Limited at 104 Constant Spring Road. Telephone 876-755-1970 or 876-276-6448. Open Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Power in great moments. If you have financial needs, Chris and Charles will fix them for you. Power in great moments since 1992. Oh, we have it all. Power in great moments. Relax, you got Chris and Charles. Oh, we have it all. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Jamaica, our young people are world leaders, innovators, and game changers. They are creative, intelligent, bold, and they are champions. My youths, you have the power to transform Jamaica. Our country needs your ideas, your opinions, your solutions, and your support. Full time now, we kick out crime and violence, rape culture, unemployment, and all of the other problems in Jamaica land we love. I'm Empress Golding, encouraging all young people to come make we talk up. Pan Talk Up Radio. Go on with it, youths. Talk up youth. Myself a talk up youth.
Now play by the king of his all iron eyes serves in the bring, you know. Every time.
Talk up youth and talk the truth. I ask the bush that representing for Talk Up Youths. Here and nationwide, 90 FM. Every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Bush.
Iron eyes serves in the bring, you know. Every time. Consistently. Every lap.
Hey yo, me is a youth, no in a hurry. Me love me chickpeas and me tofu curry. Job bless me belly full and me never spend no money. Too big pack chai when me get from me mommy. She never sent Elizabeth, she said baby no worry. Them fresh vegetable Tony Rebel couldn't carry. The only thing she want is another big tune. So call Ricky Cho, papi put it on tube. Send it on a boom son, baby drop it on speaker. Wait junior bang junior gang for the feature. Mix and release, make we trample the bass. 21 low trigger finger be squeeze. Yo, I just love I and I bring. And I still life over everything. 24 seasons, nothing don't change. Keep the things straight, so we never switch lanes. Positive vibes, yes, what we do. Whatever we need, just put up with it. Gotta wipe out while man I make plans. So in all things, and we have to give thanks, and we have to give thanks.
How we say life over everything. I say lassie over every king. Love over money, money over gun. Give thanks a little over none. Long time we tell them make a muckle. But them a laugh and a chuckle and a buck shuffle. How we say blingin' but not overdone. See they now the cup a overrun. How we say love for all over some. How we say rise up Rasta children and never run. And inspire one another to stand up and overcome and keep showing love forever, never done.
Yo, I just love I and I bring. And I still life over everything. 24 seasons, nothing don't change. Keep the things straight, so we never switch lanes. Positive vibes, yes, what we do. Whatever we need, just put up with it. Gotta wipe out while man I make plans. So in all things, and we have to give thanks.
Yeah, man, you don't know, this is Naomi Cowan representing for Talk Up Youth. This on every Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. Talk Up Youth, me say Talk Up Youth, yeah. You have to stand for your rights now. Now is the time.
Tell the people.
Secure in the back,
Financial freedom, barrel full up of crap. Down a yard, that's some things go. Take a good look inside, there's some that's loyal to income. Moving in silence. So much blessings, I'm thankful. Fulfilling my dreams, I'm grateful. Fulfilling my needs, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. The harder it gets, it will change you. And the higher you get, that will hate you. Time gets so dread, it will break you. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. In a life when it get hard, 10 toes down, shoulder broad. Drop on my knees and pray to God. It could have been worse, it could have been bad. Not in the earth or in the bag. Not chat to no nurse and live in a ward. We flipping the car, secure in the bag. We double the profit with me and my squad. Not in a barrel full of a crap. Mind over matter, we stick to the plan. Never yet I love a couple of grand. Only the farmer can depend upon. Forever grateful, I'm giving the thanks. Living the dream, you know me and the gang. Me and the team did a sick in a sun. We wouldn't be here without all of the fans, yeah. So much blessings, I'm thankful. Fulfilling my dreams, I'm grateful. Fulfilling my needs, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. The harder it gets, it will change you. And the higher you get, that will hate you. Time gets so dread, it will break you. I'm so grateful. I'm so
Welcome to the Talk Up You radio show, the voice of Jamaican youth, right here on the best revolution station in Jamaica, nationwide 90 FM. It's your favorite youth hangout spot here where the vibes are high, the conversations are real, and the energy is always unmatched. Whether you listen to us on the 90.3, the 90.5, the 90.7, and the 90.9 FM band, Digiplay or Flow, we are glad to have you here this morning. And if you're just joining us, you're listening to none other than the voice of your boy Malik, and on the heels, fresh from, I don't know if it's vacation or retirement.
Yes.
Vacation, the producer boss himself.
Good morning.
Mr. Dr. Suave.
Good morning, Jamaica. Damon Scarlett is back in the building.
Good to have you back, Mr. Producer. I hope the vacation was fulfilling.
It was good.
We'll talk more about it after this. From Kingston sound systems to Olympic podiums, from reggae anthems to diaspora boardrooms, Jamaica's voice travels far beyond our 4,000 square miles. But in a world shifting alliances, viral headlines, and geopolitical pressure, how does a small nation speak boldly without paying the price? Today we're having a serious conversation on Brand Jamaica, small nation but big voice, and we're going to be asking some very big questions.
Yeah.
And I think coming on the heels of even the nation celebrating Jamaica Day yesterday, it was just so good to see people out in their Jamaican colors. We are having this conversation today. So how should a small nation navigate its sovereignty in the shadow of a superpower?
Right, so that moment didn't happen in a vacuum, because one of the things we want to look at as a backdrop to our conversation, our theme today, Malik, is that the relationship between the United States and the Caribbean has always been layered in terms of strategic, economic, and political. So from Cold War tensions and the U.S. embargo on Cuba to Jamaica's historic balancing act between Washington and Havana, our region has long sat at the crossroads of ideology, trade, and diplomacy. So Jamaica itself has walked that line before. If we go back to the 1970s, under Michael Manley's leadership, we had closer ties with Cuba that sparked tension with Washington, but yet today Jamaica maintains diplomatic relations with both the United States and Cuba, reflecting a foreign policy tradition rooted in sovereignty and non-alignment. So
when comments come from the U.S. lawmaker suggesting concern about Jamaica's direction, and our Prime Minister responds by affirming Jamaica's independent stance, I think it raises deeper questions that we have to have. Is our sovereignty part of Brand Jamaica? We can dissect what sovereignty means some more for our listeners and viewers. Does asserting independence strengthen global respect or risk economic consequences? How does cultural power, or music, or sports, the diaspora shape or diplomatic leverage? And in a digital age where statements travel instantaneously, how should leaders manage tone and message? It's all about perspective, and it's about youth understanding the history behind the headlines, because being a small nation with a big voice isn't just a slogan. It's a strategy, and a strategy that requires awareness. So what's coming up in the broadcast today?
Right, so with that mouthful that we just gave as a part of our introduction, laying the foundation, in our What Say You segment, we asked the question, does Jamaica's cultural power give it more diplomatic leverage than before? Right? And then we're going to switch over to our Youth for Check segment, where we're now going to be having we said today is a big man conversation, right?
Well, they have to be had. We have to have strong and big conversations in addition to the mix, you know?
That's right. So today we're going to be looking at broadening the conversation with our CARICOM youth ambassadors on diplomacy and regional integration, with the aim of assessing the strength of Jamaica's voice.
So stick and stay with us. We're here until 1 p.m. today, and you can listen to us, the Talk Up Youth radio show, here or online at nationwideradiojm.com. That's nationwideradiojm.com, or get the Nationwide app in your relevant app store. You can also watch us on our YouTube page at Nationwide 90FM. Good morning, YouTube family. Keep it locked into the station you can trust. Let's switch over to the break. This is the Talk Up Youth radio show, a youth-led Talk Up Youth production. Stay tuned for more Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie. Talk Up Youth. We soon come back.
Make it out, yeah, them route, yeah, make for doubt, yeah. Ain't stop left for out, no free voice, they make me shout, them call me out, my count, my blessing them and watch them grow, ready like heaven chose, yeah. The thing I snap, no photo, got couple black for pose up, celebration, get the toss up, the struggle's really close up, you will see this guy's the road tough, but we out, you know, bluff, I fi make it out, you know, rush, tell them don't touch, the ear no comb, the teeth, them don't brush, just keep the focus, and love the life, you put.
Talk Up Youth and talk the truth. I asked the Bush that representing for Talk Up Youths, here and nationwide, 90 FM, every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Bush!
Upgrade your home or business with Cameron Industries and Joinery Limited. Explore a range of termite-resistant plywood, quartz, solid surface, and granite. Experience timeless elegance with our cedar doors, crafted from premium cedar stock, kiln-dried for durability and beauty. For quality and craftsmanship, visit us at the Trade Center Kingston 10 or Hatfield Mandeville. Call 876-963-0628-30. Cameron Industries and Joinery Limited. Transform your space today.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
The news cycle doesn't end on Friday. It needs perspective. That's why every Sunday at midday, Nationwide 90 FM presents The Week That Was. A clear, informed review of the top stories that shaped the past week, what really mattered and what lies ahead. No noise, no theatrics, just analysis, context, and clarity. The Week That Was. Sundays at 12 p.m. Understand the news before the week begins. Only on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
This is Nikisha Barnes representing for Talk Up Radio, a Talk Up Youth production held every Saturday 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Talk Up Youth, Mr. for Talk Up Youth.
Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na.
Welcome back to the Talk Up Your Radio Show, the voice of the Jamaican youth, right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the best revolution station in Jamaica and across the world, like I always say. Whenever I have the opportunity to sit in this chair, and Malik says, welcome back.
Yeah, we have to welcome you back. We need to give Malik a round of applause, Mr. Engineer, because it's been so long that our producer hasn't been here. But today we're all about Brand Jamaica, small nation, big voice. And I mean, you're just back from leave, but how has your week been?
It's been busy actually, in terms of the regular work that I do.
Yeah.
And not only that, just trying to put into focus, all the things that needs to be done for this weekend. I want to say, though I wasn't here, I was technically here.
I mean, you kept your feet on the pulse.
Because we had to plan, we had to work.
Correct, but you were flung right back into it this week, and I'm sure you're glad to be back as well.
But how about you?
I mean, my week was busy, but I think I so look forward to the weekend, because the weekend, even if you have your chores, means reset, refocus for the week ahead. And just, coming here this morning, I'm like, people, it's a nice, sunny, windy day here in Kingston City by the waterfront. And I just looked and said to myself, how could you not live on an island? And how could you not live on the island of Jamaica? This is why I think, while we're focusing on the heels of Jamaica Day yesterday, and I was saying, it was just so heartwarming seeing not just the children, but adults, everyone just in their brand Jamaica colors.
In fact, I didn't remember that it was Jamaica Day yesterday until...
How come, sir? It's every February, sir.
I was on vacation.
Well, okay.
But I went to walking, and then I realized that I saw the cars coming. Everybody was decked out
in their colors.
Both parents and guardians and children alike. So I was like, oh, today is Jamaica Day.
I heard that the parents were, it was like Christmas Eve at the Jamaica stores that sell the Jamaica t-shirts and so, like up in Halfway where car Brand Jamaica was just on display. And I think it's good that we celebrate that. So, focusing on Brand Jamaica, that's a small nation, big voice, is what we're about today. But as the voice of Jamaican youth, just before I think we get into the What Say You segment, we're also indeed a news station, and so it's important for us to let the nation know what's happening in the world today. There's some global happenings that I think we have to share as well with them.
Right. And this is, of course, nationwide. So we want to give you some updates. And as we're looking at on screen, looking at what's happening on CNN, many persons would have woken up this morning to the news of what took place over there in Iran.
Yes.
So a major military confrontation erupted when Israel, with coordination and support from the United States, launched a joint military strike against targets in Iran, including Tehran and other cities. And the attacks, described by Israeli officials as a preemptive move against perceived threats and by the US as part of a major combat operations, they were targeting military infrastructure and leadership installations amid failed nuclear negotiations.
The explosions were widely reported across Iranian cities. Airspace closures were enacted and a nationwide state of emergency has been declared in Israel. And you're seeing now breaking that sirens are now all across central Israel. So this is a developing story and situation that we want you to tune in and focus and see what's happening in that part of the world.
But not only that, I was sharing with some person this morning that we coming out of the news as well, you'd have realized or seen the reports of what was taking place in Qatar and also Kuwait. And I do have friends that are in Kuwait, and this morning we were up having conversation. In fact, just before I came on air, I just got an update in terms of what's happening over there right now. And you would see as well that, of course, their airports were also I think had an attack on their airport earlier on this morning. This morning Jamaica time, but it's a different time
zone for them.
For them, so there's a lot of persons are just wondering what's going to happen next. One person said to me this morning when I checked in that they have their passport ready. As soon as if anything should happen and there's a clear way for them to perhaps return home, they would try to do that. And what is so interesting though, the backdrop to what is happening there, Malik, in Iran now is still surrounding this whole matter of intrigation and diplomacy in terms of what we also want to discuss this morning.
But just to give our listeners and viewers that the overall context of what's happening now is the rapid escalation unfolding against a backdrop of long-standing tensions over Israel's nuclear program, failed diplomatic efforts from as early on in this year, and concerns over regional security. So the situation kind of is a little volatile at this point, and it continues to impact global security conversations overall. So we're having these international discussions or conversations, and we're also having regional conversations and discussions today. But just shifting or pivoting gear again to the whole focus or theme of today's episode, small nation, big voice. What does that truly mean? And when we look at it, Jamaica is clearly small in size, but globally a very powerful nation in terms of our culture, or music, or athletes, or diaspora, have given us visibility far beyond our borders. And now I think what the academics and the social scientists have been doing, Damien, is when we speak about Jamaica's population, they have now expanded it to include the diaspora. Right. So we have those on land, on the terrain, here in the locality, but they also now add to the conversation or include the members of the diaspora, because they identify in the diaspora as Jamaicans, even though it's second, third, fourth generation. That's what they identify or use to their advantage.
We even see conversation even coming back home to, like, even for the polls nationally, in terms of how the diaspora
influences the final poll. So the question of the day then is, does cultural power translate into real diplomatic leverage? Does cultural power translate into real diplomatic leverage? You can call us in at 630-9371-4 or studio line 630-9371, 9372, 9373 or 9374, or leave us a message there on our YouTube page at Nationwide 90 FM. We want to hear from you about whether cultural power translates into real diplomatic leverage. So you see, when Jamaica speaks on global issues, does our global brand strengthen our voice, or do economic and political realities still set the limits? So there's this soft power versus hard power divide or distinction, small nation, big voice. So what say you? What are your responses? But what do you think, Damien? I think let us start the conversation before, we even share, because we threw out the question before on our social media. We got some responses. What are your views so far?
I don't know, as I've said, I've caught within the middle. In the sense that when you think about it, in some sense, when you look at our background, because culture also forms a part of who you are and defines who you are, the identity and all of that. So in terms of the fact that we've been making a name for ourselves through globally through our sports and our culture, and our athletes help to put us on the map. Our music as well. So in one sense, I'm thinking then, and this is not my definitive response, but in one sense, I'm thinking that yes, that cultural power does somewhat increase the leverage.
So I think where you are is a good place to be in terms of your appreciation of the scenario, but I think as well it's further needs some more development in terms of our culture. So how I summarize it or think about it is, our culture makes us seen. If even not heard, we are seen.
Okay.
Because it's important that, as you say, we appreciate the fact that our big voice is because of the different aspects of the culture that bring us to the table. The music, the sports, the things that we are renowned for. So we are seen. In terms of being heard now for the diplomatic leverage, that is where I think the distinctions and the divergence in the debate or the conversation will come. So first and foremost, and I mean unapologetically about it, even within the framework of a CARICOM that we may discuss later on, we know even through the examples as simple as the University of the West Indies context, when you go to other campuses, for example, yes, there's regional integration and we're all there, or even on the global stage, which nation is the first nation that they call when they think about Caribbean? It's usually Jamaica. You saw the Twitter wars or the X wars in the past. When you think about Caribbean, they show the map. I don't know if you've ever seen the map of the Caribbean. They said when foreigners see the Caribbean, they just see the map of Jamaica. So clearly, we have a presence. We are just what we are, good or bad or indifferent or ugly. We are what we are. We are seen. In terms of the hearing now, in terms of the diplomatic leverage now, how far does that go? I think specifically it depends on the context, the aspect of the diplomatic leverage. Because in some contexts, clearly Jamaica may take the lead because, as a small island developing state or a SID, or SIDs as we call ourselves, or a developing country in some other contexts, it depends on how you are affected or impacted by a certain aspect that you may be heard more on. So for example, climate change and the environment, we may have a stronger place there than maybe, for example, a cultural retention. Whatever the aspect of the diplomatic leverage is, will be dependent on how or to what extent we are heard. So that's my view on the issue.
Okay. Well, Annie is saying on a YouTube that's here that yes, cultural power can indeed translate into real diplomatic leverage.
Yes.
But then, to what extent?
That's what I'm saying. So it's dependent on the specific aspect of diplomacy that we're looking at. Whatever specific aspect that we're trying to further or push or get support for, or where the world sees we are leading on, and they look to us to see how we have dealt with the issue that maybe other countries so similarly facing are still grappling with and can take a page out of our book.
Right, because one of the things that we'd have found from just throwing out the question is that, an individual would have said that when a country is globally admired, it carries both the moral and the symbolic weight. So you talk about the music, how that has shaped our global conversations, around justice and resistance, and again the athletes, how they contribute and play their part in helping to, as you said, that we become seen but not necessarily heard.
But you're heard, I believe. It dependent or through what lens you're looking through it from. So it's dependent on what is it that the world thinks Jamaica is a leader in, or a leader in resolving. That is when they look to you. Versus maybe clumping you with other territories that are similarly experiencing a similar issue or have all the same way of dealing with the problem, So I think it's dependent. The context is important when we look at diplomatic leverage. But some of the views that we saw when we threw the question out, or the comments we received is, for example, not really economics still this side, and I think this one is also a very strong argument, or would be a strong argument. Cultural power is important, but let's be realistic. Trade, investment, and security partnerships determine foreign policy. The US, for example, isn't making decisions based on reggae streams or Olympic medals. They're thinking about markets, migration, and strategic investments or interests. Until Jamaica has significant economic leverage or cultural strength doesn't automatically shift hard political outcome. And I think this is a serious one.
Yeah, and because we're not there yet, and that's why some persons are having this conversation, because we're not there yet, does that mean when we see certain things being done or said within the public sphere or domain, does it mean that we don't have a voice?
Or how strong is the voice?
And that's what we're going to be evaluating and looking at. And I mean, it's no secret. We do know the discussion that has been happening throughout this week in terms of the response. And Professor Vereen, she shared that earlier on in Talking History, as she shared her viewpoints, that the Prime Minister's response, and you made a point earlier when it came in, that we're not seeing that being followed up like as how some persons are intending it to be. But then this is why we're talking about this now, this whole matter of integration and what does that look like for us.
So looking at some of the other comments, because for example we see another one of our viewers mentioned when we asked the question, regional unity multiplies cultural power. Jamaica alone is small, but through regional blocks like CARICOM, our voice multiplies. If Caribbean states leverage collective culture and voting power in international bodies, then when small nations come together, they become a great force. I see others there that you want to mention.
Well, you touched on the point about the diaspora recently.
Earlier, yes.
Right, the diaspora is in terms of a bridge. So Jamaica's diaspora in cities, for example, like New York, Toronto, and London has political influence.
Significant political influence, I would add.
Right, and when diaspora communities vote, organize, and advocate, that's where cultural power meets political systems directly, so we see
that might be Jamaica's maybe most underestimated form of leverage, the diaspora. Because even you look at those societies as well, when they put up their specific candidates, whether for mayoral or district governance, you realize as well how, especially in these cities where our diaspora is very strong, those candidates, whether from within the diaspora or external to the diaspora, look to those blocks of the electorate for support, which shows again that the diaspora has significant influence.
So and one of the things then, because even again the backdrop to even our conversation today was coming out of the recent discussion in social media following our Prime Minister's response about what was happening in Cuba. Right? And I don't know if you have any personal thoughts on it, but this whole matter of Jamaica being a small nation and adding its voice to global concerns, is that a reason for us to be, I don't know, use the term sanctioned, for us to face consequences? Because that is the line of the discussion.
Well, I see, in response, I think one of the Vox Pop members here said, small states must be strategic but not loud. I believe sovereignty is important, but small states must calculate carefully. Cultural pride shouldn't lead to diplomatic missteps. Being bold is one thing, being strategic is another. Influence for small nations comes from alliances, regional unity, and economic positioning, not just brand recognition. But even just looking at it in the context of what you just mentioned, strategy is important. I mean, the former director of public prosecutions, Ms. Paul, used to always say, what is the strategy? You must have a strategy.
Right.
So I think strategy is critical in these discussions. But then, if the shoe's on the other foot, one may say as well, if you keep trying to be in group work, how do you separate and be an individual? How do the nation of worlds, the world of nations, see you as an individual if you're always within a group? You know? So how do you define yourself? So I think at the end of the day, whichever lens you look at it through, it has to be about the strategy. You have to be strategic.
Well, I just want to share this comment here. Annie continues, just to share her thoughts, is that, for example, United States, especially during post-World War II, in the post-World War II period, projected its values through Hollywood films, music, and other media, which helped foster a wide admiration for Americans. Interesting point that Annie would have shared there. And she continued to say that the ideals, freedom, and democracy influencing many countries to align themselves to U.S. policies. So I guess based on how they depict that and use that kind of medium, you know, we're now, I don't think, should I say forced to accept? Forced to accept. But this is something that we have to really sit down and analyze and to think through.
Yeah, we are doing it now, but I think what's critical for our listeners and viewers to appreciate in this question, you know, does specifically in the example of Jamaica, our culture influence or impact or give us more diplomatic leverage? It is a discussion that you realize has so many angles to be taken into account. You have to look at it, for example, geopolitically, the size of the nation, the block in which it exists, as a small island or small island developing state, because it's both small geographically and developing in terms of economics and other criteria or factors, but also how does that translate now in terms of the unique cultural blend us as a unique powerhouse nation bring to the world in terms of our diplomatic leverages and ties and connections. And what that means is, based on what we're seeing from the comments, it will be influenced, our role and space there, dependent on whatever criterion you're utilizing, whether it's economics or trade and investment or specific social issues being addressed, whether it's from the environmental context or a domestic violence context or a cultural context or a gender and human rights perspective. Our leverage will then be impacted based on where we are on each of those indices and how it is our voice can then be accepted or influenced by what has been happening in our geopolitical space. So I think that is where we can wrap in terms of this introductory discussion about how leverage works. Leverage works and linkages work because of how we are viewed and how we are already responding on the ground to some of these issues.
Well said, like the person that you are in your daily profession. But thank you for putting it into context for us, Malik. And when we come back on the other side of the break, as you said, we're going to get more into that part of the conversation because we want to unpack more of this whole matter of regional integration and diplomacy.
And having some guests tell us and lead us in that discussion.
That's right.
Stick and stay, don't go away. We're the Talk Up Youth radio show, the voice of Jamaican youth. Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie. Talk Up Youth. We soon come back.
Time gets so ready to break you. So good, so good.
Hello everybody, this is Taji and you're listening to Nationwide 90 FM and I'm representing for all the youths nationwide. Talk up youth, myself a talk up youth. Big up on yourself, keep going, we know it's hard. Sending love your way, blessings.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Commercial spaces for you. Parks and attractions for you. Housing and residential developments for you. Beautiful rental properties for you. Improving quality of life through infrastructure development across Jamaica for you. The Urban Development Corporation, making development happen for you. Brought to you by the Urban Development Corporation.
UDC for you. If you love the vibes, the laughs, and the real talk, then you're one of us. Don't just listen, belong. Join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club on Patreon.
Protect your investment before the first shovel hits the ground with Sterling Design and Construction. Our Clerk of Works consultancy provides independent on-site oversight to ensure your project is built right the first time. We eliminate poor workmanship, keep the contractors accountable to drawings and standards, and reduce stress through clear reporting and early issue detection. From workmanship and materials to compliance and performance, we prevent costly rework, delays, and disputes because small issues become big problems from day one. Telephone 876-276-0276.
You may have been hearing the teasers. Now it's official. Beginning Monday, February 9, 2026, Nationwide News Network launches something special. The Nationwide Family Club, exclusively on Patreon.
With the Family Club, members get early access to our documentaries before anyone else. Some of your favorite segments, including Cliff Says, What's on My Mind, Cover Story, and others, will now be a click away inside the Family Club. There are 3 tiers of membership. First, Bronze, the Family Insider, behind-the-scenes access, Monday motivational videos, members-only chats, and on-air birthdays and anniversary shoutouts.
Second, Silver, Nationwide VIP. Breaking news alerts, exclusive documentaries, quizzes, personal milestones celebrated on air, and weekly family roll call mentions. Oh, and for our biggest supporters,
our gold category, elite listener, full archive access, early releases, private studio tours, live show experiences, personalized birthday videos, and exclusive live streams. From historic election coverage to lifetime, impact, Jamaican milestones, and rare archive content. This is Nationwide like you've never seen it before. The Nationwide Family Club, coming to you February 9, 2026 on Patreon.
Join the family, support Nationwide 90 FM, the station that informs, entertains, and educates. Visit patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. That's patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. Nationwide Family Club, where you are family, because we see you as family.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come with me. Let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
youths. You have to stand for your rights now. Now is the time. Youth for chat and youth for act and youths for unite right now. No silence, you youth. You have to stand for your rights now. Now is the time. Tell the people.
Another party, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody, yeah. Pull up another Rari, yeah. Bare feelings that I carry. Pull up another Audi, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody, yeah. Pull up another card, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody but you. Pull up another Lada. But me have the Benz and the Prada. And a couple brand new order. All of them fully don't matter. 0 to 102. Yeah, so I'ma flex on you. All in on my section view, I set on you. Then me get a text come true, so I'ma show you what my legs can do. Pull up another party, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody, yeah. Pull up another Rari, yeah. Bare feelings that I carry. Pull up another Audi, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody, yeah. Pull up another card, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody but you. I don't play, you will never ever find another like me, yeah. You should know you made my day, and I lost my horse when you came my way, but it changed my mood. Oh, you're so rude, yeah. Then I try push up intrude, but you're well settled and smooth, yeah. Pull up another party, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody, yeah. Pull up another Rari, yeah. Bare feelings that I carry. Pull up another Audi, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody, yeah. Pull up another card, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody but you. Pull up another Lada. But me have the Benz and the Prada. And a couple brand new order. All of them fully don't matter. 0 to 102. Yeah, so I'ma flex on you. All in on my section view, I set on you. Then me get a text come true, so I'ma show you what my legs can do. Pull up another party, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody, yeah. Pull up another Rari, yeah. Bare feelings that I carry. Pull up another Audi, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody, yeah. Pull up another card, yeah. I ain't not watching nobody but you.
Betterment in this modern time, Education is the key for betterment. Never you waste your time, don't you waste your time. Bless and love. This is Warrior Kings, all about talk up youth, you know. Cause the youth them are the future. Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Keep in tune, don't move it. Rastafari. Reggae music, nation, good vibration.
New government, give thanks. Sing it. You know, every day. Realest in here, brother. We give thanks. For real. You spend all that money on your watch. How much time you spend with your son? So much money in the club. How much you spend with the ones you love? The simple things are your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings, your blessing. Simple things are your blessing. And you don't notice your blessings. You pick it with the shoes by your feet. Now pick and choose the friends where you keep. You now watch where you eat. When last you get a good sleep. The simple things are your blessings. Simple things are your blessing, your blessing. Simple things are your blessing. You better notice your blessing.
Welcome back to the Talk Up Youth Radio Show, the voice of the Jamaican youth, right here on Nationwide 90 FM. And this Saturday, I was supposed to say Saturday afternoon. My mind.
You're still on vacation mode. You're listening to none other than the voices of your boy Malik and producer boss himself.
Damon Scarlett.
And we're into a Damalastic or Maldamastic type of day today. You know, really just vibing and discussing, you know, big conversations today. Small nation, but big voice. Jamaica and brand Jamaica, specifically linking it to diplomacy or state on the world stage, and how is it we are to be viewed? So, we had a spirited discussion earlier with, discussing what the viewpoints were of some of the persons we asked about spot question, does our culture really influence our diplomatic power on the world stage? And I think where we ended off was a nice discussion about, it really depends on the context. But now in our What Say You segment, we are joined by Crystal Paris Campbell. And Crystal Paris Campbell is one of Jamaica's CARICOM youth ambassadors. She's a legal professional. She's an LLB at LEC from the UN, the Norman Manning Law School. Yeah. And she currently serves as an assistant parliamentary counsel in the Office of the Parliamentary Counsel, where she drafts legislation for Parliament. So these different laws that you read about, show how the people help draft them, write them, and you go through the lawmaking process. So I think we have to have a whole other discussion about the lawmaking process. Right. But today, she wears the hat of a former Jamaica House Fellow and a CARICOM Youth Ambassador, and she has contributed to several initiatives on education, violence prevention, climate resilience, and youth policy. And she has represented Caribbean youth at regional and international platforms, including the United Nations, and played a critical role in revising Jamaica's national youth policy and part of the revival of the National Youth Parliament. Big deal, we tell you. Big deal. Yeah, she's very passionate about youth advocacy and national development, like ourselves here at the Talk Up Youth radio show. And so she's very interested in, CARICOM sustainable development initiatives. And I think that's why it was so critical to have her here today to really help break it down for us, give us the ABCs about regional integration. But welcome, Crystal. How are you?
Welcome. Good morning, Mali. Good morning, Damien. Good morning, Jamaica. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. We're happy to have you on the Talk Up Youth radio show today. I think where we can start first and foremost is what led you to be interested in CARICOM and regional integration?
Well, we would have all gone through our high school program and would have learned Caribbean studies.
Yes.
And in my past life, on the weekends, I would lecture Caribbean studies. And it would just always be interesting to me because the shared history and the common goals of our region is something that I think as Jamaicans we don't spend enough time discussing or appreciating.
Yes.
And so when the opportunity came to be a part of the CARICOM Youth Ambassador Program, I thought it would be a great opportunity to really platform those issues for young people, break it down in ways that they can appreciate and understand, and really just integrate more with our region.
Yes.
We would have gotten that experience of regional integration at UE.
Yes.
It's one of the best instances where...
Exhibit 1.
Yes. Where we actually get to know persons from St. Vincent, St. Kitts, and we would get to understand their culture, they get to understand ours. We would travel around the region.
Right.
But then when we see how it could be actually utilized to empower our voice and empower our shared ideals, I think that we can spend more time learning about it because, education, knowledge is power. And I thought that this would be a great opportunity to do that.
I love that. She's in our Jamaica Day search. She's still on the heels of Jamaica Day from yesterday. I love it. But tell our listeners a little bit more about, because you're a CARICOM Youth Ambassador, you told us what interested you in getting involved, but specifically about the program, about the Youth Ambassadors program.
Sure. So taking it directly from the CARICOM.org website, the CARICOM Youth Ambassador Program was launched in St. Lucia in 1993 by the heads of government to mark the 20th anniversary of CARICOM, and it was formally instituted in 1994.
Okay.
So since its inception, the Youth Ambassador Program has contributed to increase youth knowledge and awareness on CARICOM issues and priorities, raise the profile of young people at the national and regional levels, and has assisted in integrating the views and perspectives of young people from across the region into national, regional, and international policy and programs.
So really giving young people a seat at the table at CARICOM.
And starting from your national level, in how you interact with the different ministries, departments, and agencies.
Right.
On the regional level, going to the heads of government meeting, for instance, is something that they try to prioritize for all members of the core. And then even internationally, it's a doorway for a lot of youth ambassadors to enter into other international programs and spaces. Yeah.
All right, good. I love that foundation.
Trust me. I mean, a little birdie told me, not a little birdie told me. I saw it. You were at a recent CARICOM heads of government meeting in, I think, Montego Bay.
Yes, last year.
Right, like late last year. Tell us about that experience.
Well, it was incredible, so through the leadership of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, we were invited, myself and my male youth ambassador, Odain Brooks, to go and give remarks on behalf of youth at the 49th meeting that was held in Jamaica, because at that time, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, he was the chair of the meeting and of the of CARICOM at that time.
Yes.
we had gone to give some remarks about youth and represent youth around the region. And it was just an incredible opportunity to really see our different world leaders or regional leaders. You know, I got to see Mia Motley and just seeing them in person when you would have really seen them.
They're really real, yeah.
They're
I
really
can touch
real,
them.
you know, and they had even danced with each other at the end of the ceremony, which was really impactful and showcased the cultural integration and regional integration that we really have, which I do think lends to this conversation. They recently wrapped another session this week, and they have them every 6 months.
I'm about to ask you, tell us about that, because I remember hearing our Prime Minister was the chair, now the Prime Minister St. Kitts and Nevis is the chair. How does it work?
Yeah, so it's a 6-month cycle, so usually they rotate with all of the heads of government from the region.
Yes.
And then they have the 6 months to execute certain priorities, make certain representations, and then that chair would then pass on to the next chair. So I think at that time it was Mia Motley who was the chair, and then she passed over to Prime Minister Andrew Holness, and then now he's passing to St. Vincent, if memory serves.
St. Kitts?
St. Kitts.
Yeah, St. Kitts.
Yeah.
Okay, and then is it at the end of each 6 months they have a heads of government meeting? How does it work?
They should have a heads of government meeting every 6 months in the country that is having the responsibility, so that's why it was in Jamaica.
Right.
So generally that's the aim, and I think I was listening to the press conference at the end of the session, and he was saying I think 20 out of 21 of the leaders were there.
Wow.
So it has become a staple and an opportunity for all the leaders to come together and discuss certain issues. Secretary of State was also there. So it shows that the leadership is really garnering a lot of support and attention from the rest of persons and nations in the Western Hemisphere and outside to be able to come together and meet with our regional leaders at one sitting.
I love that. So let's just break it down for them. I'm going to explain. So as I understand it, regional integration, if you never do social studies, boo. Because everybody, I really think, so, you know, I have to go make a case about the Ministry of Education. Dr. Dana coming to talk to you. Minister of Education, I think, you know, maybe what needs to happen is, because you're hearing these different conversations, not to stray too much, about we need to reintegrate civics into school. Just like maths and English, and for some schools, maths, English, and IT is compulsory for CXC, I think social studies must be compulsory too. Whatever they take it from 4th form or 5th form, it must be compulsory, because that's where you also get your civic knowledge and your other pieces of knowledge about worldviews. But what I remember is regional integration is the process by which neighboring countries coordinate and cooperate, whether in economics, politics, social, or security matters, to achieve common goals, improve efficiency, enhance stability within a specific region. So it can involve reducing trade barriers, harmonizing policies, sharing resources, collaborating on infrastructure, security, governance, whatever it is. The ultimate aim is to create a more interconnected system for a region. That's just a definition generally that will influence political growth, stability, economic growth, social development through collective action. So what I want to explain to our listeners and viewers, because you know you're on your YouTube, to big up to YouTube and they're very, very active over there, what is CARICOM, what it stands for, and what is its role in promoting now Caribbean integration?
Okay. So CARICOM stands for the Caribbean Community. If you think of other regional groups that we have the African Union, the European Union. It's essentially an entity that allows for all the nations of the Caribbean to come together on specific common goals.
Yes.
So it's independent states and territories as well, because you know we have a number of territories a part of CARICOM. But they come together understanding that with one voice or in a unified space we can make more impact, right? So what, you know, I think I maybe need to take it out a little further and speak about what the Caribbean is.
Yes.
Right? So I think a lot of times we know that we're in the Western Hemisphere, we call this the West Indies.
Right.
But that has its own meaning. So most of us would have been colonized in some capacity. Most of the nations in CARICOM are English speaking, but we know that Haiti was colonized by the French, we know that Cuba was colonized by the Spanish. So we have different groups that have different...
Are they like associates?
Associate members, right. But they still have a shared history. So we have the history of enslavement. In the English-speaking Caribbean, we had the history
colonization.
of indentureship, colonization that happened afterwards, and then we would have all sought our independence in various ways. So the impetus of us coming together is based on the shared commonalities. So we know that we have shared common history, we have shared geographical realities, shared climate realities. So for example, Hurricane Melissa devastated Jamaica just a few months ago. It didn't only touch Jamaica, it touched other countries as well. So we understand that all Caribbean islands have a high risk of hurricanes. Before that, in 2024, we had Hurricane Beryl, and that touched several Caribbean islands before it came to Jamaica as well. So we understand that having the shared common goals or having shared experiences means that we may have common goals that we need to achieve.
Right.
And instead of having just each nation advocate on their own, we can collaborate and find common ground in different areas while still keeping our independent status and our sovereignty.
And I think that's where we want to go into now, as you mentioned that. And thank you for sharing that, because that's really helpful for us to put it into context. But in terms of like regional integration now within the Caribbean itself, how has that helped to benefit Caribbean countries, especially for us as Jamaicans, economically and socially?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I always have to start with education.
Naturally.
So, University of the West Indies is one of our best examples of how regional integration has assisted us. We now have options to get educated at the premier university in the region. And you're not only limited to Jamaica. You can go to St. Augustine campus in Trinidad, you can go to Cave Hill in Barbados.
Or the 5 islands in Antigua and Barbuda.
Exactly. And then those students also come here, and we get to understand each other on a deeper level, on a cultural level, even on a personal level. A lot of people meet their spouses through that kind of experience.
Cross-campus integration.
CXC is another example, because we have one regional exam that sets the standard of what students need to learn before they can exit high school and enter university. So you don't have an imbalance of, okay, a school over here teaches up to this level, but then another school is lacking in that level. You have one standard that you can utilize. When it comes to our economy, I think I heard at the regional meeting, the Prime Minister was making the point to say Jamaica has been very forthright in dealing with crime, and their approaches to crime have yielded a lot of success. And so other regional bodies can even share in those riches and speak to the persons who would have made those decisions in Jamaica to find out what they can do there. If I recall, even at the 49th Heads of Government meeting, they had the JCF have their exhibit there. Just to show the different islands, this is what we're doing, this is the technology we're using. Information sharing, knowledge sharing.
You mentioned security though as part of economics. Is there a correlation based on what you've been observing or picking up?
Absolutely, because economics is advanced or hampered by security. If individuals feel unsafe, they're less likely to take certain risks and to have certain experiences and invest in the island and in the region if they feel that there's a level of unsafety or a level of crime.
That is
violence.
too out of the way that it will detract them from wanting to spend their money. You mentioned, for example, at the Heads of Government Conference, and I remember that as well because the JST, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, were very big on showcasing their technology fair, more sanitized or smaller version rather, for the purposes of the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting to showcase. But I remember learning about specifically as part of regional integration that within the Caribbean region, or CARICOM specifically, you can correct me, there used to be an arm dedicated to security, the RSS, Regional Security System. From your interactions, experiences so far, does it still exist?
I think it still exists. I think it may be under a new name, Impacts or something.
Caribbean Impacts.
Yes, if memory serves.
Because I'm thinking these are ways, as you've said again, that we can showcase best practices and share, our JCS model, how it is. They can also tap into these resources and networks through that. And we also see it in even natural disasters. So some of the soldiers from the region would have come down to assist with the immediate aftermath. On the ground, on the aftermath.
So we know that the security forces don't only help with protecting us, but they also reassure us, they also serve us. So when you had all of those immediate disasters, we saw how much the police force and the JCF and the JDF were called upon to assist a number of people for different reasons, and that kind of regional integration also
critical.
It's critical, exactly.
And just like when other territories are also challenged with whether political unrest or disasters, how our security forces,
their forces and send them over to those countries,
But I think what has been a critical sticking point for us, which is why I'm still sticking on economics with you, so is the money. I think there's no other plain way to put it on. It's the money. Because some territories, their exchange rate is I remember very vaguely because I'm a product, you're a product too of the University of the West Indies.
No,
you can't sit with us. Nevertheless, as members of the product, but we adopt you because you have so much connections up there and mentees up there.
Yeah.
I remember very vaguely but very distinctly one of my church aunties saying to me when I went, I was telling her I was going to Cave Hill for studying law, and she said to me, "Is the exchange rate still 2-1?" Because when she went there for vacation in the 1970s, it was 2-1.
Wow.
And today, in 2026, having studied there when I studied there, and now still today, the exchange rate is still 2-1. Never want to go down the road about Jamaican money, because I might start cry as to what our exchange rate is from then to now. What's the story on the money? Because I think that's what's critical. Because since we talk about integration, why we can't have the same money? Me don't like my exchange rate. Me never need our money. Me could go use the Bayesian currency or the Trinity currency or the Eastern Caribbean currency.
That's a very good point. But I wanted to take that point
after the break.
Okay. After the break.
Yeah, because we have to hear about the money. We can't be integrated. Why we can't have the same money? More money no matter. But stick and stay, don't go away. We are today small island but big voice, all about integration and brand Jamaica on the world stage. This is the Talk Up You radio show, the voice of the Jamaican youth, and we are joined by Crystal Paris Campbell, Jamaica's CARICOM Youth Ambassador. You have to help us close out for this segment of the break. Talk Up You, Miss Effie. Talk Up You. We still come back.
You spend all that money on your watch. How much time you spend with your son? So much money in the club. How much you spend with the ones you love? The simple things are your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings, your blessing. Simple things are your blessing. And you don't notice your blessings.
Attention contractors, developers, and homeowners. Glacier White Corian Solid Surface is now at a special price. While stocks last, choose Corian for your commercial and residential projects. You won't regret it. It's durable, beautiful, and long-lasting. No sealing necessary. Corian is the #1 solid surface in the world. Second to none. Visit Home International Limited at 104 Constant Spring Road. Telephone 876-755-1970 or 876-276-6448. Open Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Upgrade your home or business with Cameron Industries and Joinery Limited. Explore a range of termite-resistant plywood, quartz, solid surface, and granite. Experience timeless elegance with our cedar doors, crafted from premium cedar stock, kiln-dried for durability and beauty. For quality and craftsmanship, visit us at the Trade Center Kingston 10 or Hatfield Mandeville. Call 876-963-0628-30. Cameron Industries and Joinery Limited. Transform your space today.
Hey my peeps, get this on the regular. Your HIV status if you consider. The least you ever test once a year. Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Cause it might not show up on your timeline and you learn too late so you're out of time. A progressive future, mandatory. Real long life, our story. You hear?
Remember, update your status in a real life. Do an HIV test today.
Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Real long life, our story. Real long life with Yout, coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Protect your investment before the first shovel hits the ground with Serling Design and Construction. Our Clerk of Works consultancy provides independent on-site oversight to ensure your project is built right the first time. We eliminate poor workmanship, keep the contractors accountable to drawings and standards, and reduce stress through clear reporting and early issue detection. From workmanship and materials to compliance and performance, we prevent costly rework, delays, and disputes because small issues become big problems from day one. Telephone 876-276-0276.
From early childhood to higher education, from smart classrooms to school nutrition, Jamaica's education system is evolving fast. The Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information is leading the charge. Broadband in schools across the island, 6 new STEM-focused secondary schools on the way, thousands of teachers trained in cutting-edge technology, and more students in high-demand TVET programs than ever before. We're empowering learners, equipping educators, and transforming education for Jamaica's future. The Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, we are trending, transforming education for national development.
Every day, Jamaicans have something to say. In the group chats, on social media, in the streets, there's a place where it all comes together. The comment section. This This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Talk Up Youth and talk the truth. I Yaksa the Bush that representing for Talk Up Youths here and Nationwide 90 FM every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Bush loader. Ready man? Yeah. Excuse me no pagans. Now seek validation. Toast and admiration from you nor your patrons. Boasting about name brands. We cost over 8 grand. When me searching up the same one for the cost of a straight pants. Why own a Ferrari with nowhere to park it, boy? Why shop a Louis V when there is a target? Now me hype on my face it. Two minds me a save it. Them go fend if it trendy. Bank account can't empty. Acres over markets.
Welcome back to the Talk Up Your Radio Show, the voice of the Jamaican youth right here on Nationwide 90 FM. We are having the big conversation today. This feels like an in the week program.
I know, right? But that's good.
That's
it
good.
means young people can have big conversations too.
That's
you know,
right.
small nation but big voice,
voice, yeah.
brand Jamaica. You know, coming off the heels of, you know, just enjoying Jamaica Day yesterday, but also seeing what's happening currently, you know, within the region, within the diaspora, within the international space.
Yeah.
We've been having these discussions, and you know, we have been joined now as well by another Renaissance woman, just another excellent superstar. Teresa Camille Taylor is a former Jamaica Youth Ambassador to CARICOM and a CARICOM Youth Ambassador, and she has supported regional initiatives and served as a trusted moderator for organizations like the UNFPA, PAHO, CARICOM, and the World Bank. Through consulting, coaching, and hosting, Teresa advances strategic growth, credibility, and purpose-driven leadership for women in business. She's a business consultant herself, operations strategist, women in business coach, and a corporate event host who helps strengthen entrepreneurs and executives align vision with structure. As founder and CEOs of Characters Canvas, she equips women-led ventures with the systems, operational charity, and strategic storytelling needed to scale with confidence and purpose. A true Renaissance woman overall. Welcome to the show, Teresa Camille Taylor.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm so happy to be here. Thank
We
you for
are
having me.
glad to have you. Trust me to also add to the conversation, and you have both the past and the present. You know, CARICOM Youth Ambassadors, Ministry of Education, Youth and Skills and Information. Look at them. Yeah. Good examples of representatives of women who are smart, intelligent, talented, and who can help us really dig into the conversation. But let's just, you know, catch you up to speed, you know, Teresa. What has your experience been like, you know, in reflecting now and seeing now the present as a CARICOM Youth Ambassador?
Well, reflecting on the importance of the role as well as the positioning of Jamaica, what I want to say is that youth speaking up on regional issues continues to be a very important part of not just the present, but what the future will look like. The conversations like these definitely help to shape the landscape for the future, because when you think about how international relations operate, the lifeblood of international relations really is conversation. Diplomatic relations is conversation. Everything is catapulted on that and then fuels action. But looking back on, you know, my time and seeing what was done and what is happening now, I'm realizing how important it is to do your best.
Yes.
Because the life that you create then will speak to the future in terms of how we experience it. I do believe that when it comes to regional matters, it is becoming even more important that we become more integrated, collaborated, and united, because we're small, but we're mighty together, and we do have a big voice. And so I guess as we talk about that, we'll delve.
Yes, I love that. I remember in your tenure, it was yourself and Andre Sean Maria Blake who were the CARICOM Youth Ambassadors. Was there any specific project or proposal that you're proud of that the two of you worked on?
Absolutely, we worked on quite a few, but from a regional standpoint, we did Hands and Hearts for Haiti. When Haiti had the earthquake, we were intervening to ensure that they had support financially as well as with social development support on the ground as well as from a regional standpoint. We also did a smaller scale version of Hands Do Speak, which is basically teaching leaders how to do sign language so that we can advocate for people effectively. Because how are we going to do that? And apart from that, this wasn't a regional project, but eventually myself got appointed to the regional board at PAHO level to influence policy, which was a very important move for us for Latin America and the Caribbean when it relates to sexuality education, positioning, as well as our political voice when it comes to things of economic growth.
But you see, what the first platform of the CARICOM Youth Ambassadors Program gave you is that vision. That you can move now into doing even more work, UN, PAHO, CARICOM. So it was the platform or the springboard that you needed to move further. So we, thanks to CPC, Crystal has been really giving us quite a bit of a education lesson, as they're saying, Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, as they're saying to the education minister, talk of beauty, saying you need to make maths and English is compulsory of the CSEC, social studies, because we realize we hear in general discussions this whole thing about civics needs to be brought back into schools, and some of the things that they're saying civics needs to do, social studies would do. And I'm thinking, if you don't even get to do CAPE, because many persons don't do CAPE or A levels, but you have to do CXC, but come through the secondary school system. Social studies should need to be one of them, but I think needs to be compulsory because she broke down for us now what's regional integration, what is CARICOM, and gave us the basics framework, and so where we were just before the break was, what are some of the things that we're part of interacting or interfacing with? And then I got to the one that I think is a big stickler, the money. And I want to know why it is I say to Damien, when I remember going to university, a lady tell me when she visited Barbados in 1970, how long? The exchange rate was 2-1, and in 2026 it is still 2-1. Versus we don't even want to talk about Jamaica. We're talking about Jamaica Day, but what with Jamaica from 1973 ratio till now? Why, since we're integrating and saying, we are the world, we are one CARICOM, why we can't have one money? We want to know. Because me want more money in my pocket. So why is that still a challenge? And I mean, just from your experiences, both of you, but I'll start with Teresa and then I'll bring it back to you, CPC. What is the challenge or the struggle? Why we can't understand why the money can't good like everybody's money? Or we can't just use the same money?
All right, so I'm not an economist, but I did do some econ when I did international relations. So I'm going to attempt to give you my best economic analysis. Having one single currency is not as simple as just having the same currency, but it is possible. Because in the smaller countries, St. Lucia, Antigua have all come together and created a currency that the EC dollar that we're using. But there are certain economic conditions that must be right. So for example, we all must agree that we are going to trade specific things. In the same way, when we created UE, what we have done is we have allowed people to specialize in their areas. So you don't come to Jamaica necessarily for law, even though you can. You tend to do the first year and then you go to Barbados. If you want to do engineering, we know it's Trinidad. If you want to do
you come here.
Medicine, you come here. What we have done is allowed each country to specialize in their area of discipline that is most cost effective. It would require a similar kind of agreement in the economic space. We would have to agree that, okay, I won't produce this because it is not economically viable and makes sense dollar-wise for me to produce it. Now, are we willing to do that? Remember, each country has their own economic relations with the US, with China, with a number of other partners already to provide certain things. So we would have to agree that, okay, Guyana does rice, Jamaica only does sugar and X. And you understand? So that we can ensure that no one country carries the bulk of economic production and therefore has more say, more voice, and more demand. Because it is demand and supply that determines the value of the dollar. And so we would have to do something like that to start the process. And then we'd also have to agree what we are willing to accept as the appropriate conversion. Because as you can well imagine, Jamaica's disparity a 158 to or 160 to 1, Barbados 1 to 2, St. Lucia 1 to
2.7, the Eastern Caribbean dollar.
They have quite a bit of disparity in terms of what the value of each person. So some people have to agree to take a depreciation on their dollar,
and they may not be.
And they may not want to do that. And then there is also, Haiti, who also has had, even though they tend to have a lot of political instability, their dollar is actually stronger in the US than ours presently. So you will have. We also may have to take a reduction, so to speak, or depreciation on the value. So there's a lot of little things that we'd have to agree to. And again, it is always easier to agree on social things than it is economics, because economics ultimately drives the social things. And so there's a lot to discuss. But I agree with you that in the good name of unity and what CARICOM was really created to do, that is what would serve us best. Yes, in the short term, there would be disadvantages to some of us more so than others, and advantages to others. But in the long term, it would certainly benefit all of us to do something like that, in my opinion.
I like that. What's your view on that, CPC?
I think Teresa explained it magnificently. I think that when it comes down to our context as a regional body, we still have to recall that we're sovereign states in the midst of a regional body. So what benefits a certain group of states may not necessarily benefit others. And I think exposing and discussing these matters on a bigger platform is what makes the difference, because I think she's enlightened me. I didn't do economics, so I...
Demand, supply, and they're digging up my POB knowledge right there.
Right, and I think that when it comes to any kind of sovereign state, you have certain decisions that you have to make, but with every decision you have to make, there are certain things you have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And if in the Jamaican context the sacrifice was that we wouldn't have as greater control over a dollar, but we wanted to have free market.
Right.
These are the kind of countervailing balances that we have to always look at when we're making these decisions. I think making this knowledge accessible to persons is what's going to help us make the difference and have a decision later on, because we're young people, but we also are paying attention to our country. This is the land we love, this is the region we love.
And how we can build it.
And how we can build it and contribute. And I think these discussions do need to consistently be had so that we can make determinations, is this something that serves us now? Is this something that would serve us down the line? So that we can have a better understanding of how the economics impact us socially.
Yeah. I like that. Shifting a little though back to the topic that producer boss, who's just back from vacation, I didn't get a vacation in this place, wants us to have, cultural power versus political power. Because now, though we look at Jamaica in the context of a CARICOM, Jamaica is globally influential. We are what we are. And I tell people unapologetically, yes, I go at you and I tell people I'm Jamaican by birth, but Caribbean by integration, but the Jamaican turn up in me. So guess what? Me's a CARICOM citizen and a CARICOM man, but when we look at the map, reality is just reality. And I curse with my Trinity friends and my Vincentian friends and my EC friends all the time. When you look at the map, the reality is when them think CARICOM, if you're not a CARICOM citizen or a CARICOM knowledge person, I owe them see. That's just the reality. We are what we are. But Jamaica is globally influential through, as we said, our culture, or music, or sports, or diaspora networks, or cultural exports. Does this soft power, make Jamaica a stronger voice diplomatically than the size really suggests? What's the viewpoint thinking there now? Because Damon and I were having this discussion earlier, Does it really influence? Because we are a big voice culturally on the world stage, or all these things that make us look good on the world stage. So I was saying, my submission was that we are seen, but are we necessarily heard? It's dependent on the lens that you look through. But what's your view, Teresa, and then CPC?
So I want to add to what you're thinking. So we're not just influential in culture. We are actually quite influential in the political space. So what I want to, use my IR knowledge to bring into the space for you is that just like in your relationships, in the local context, you have persons who, when they say a thing, other people start to follow. And that is usually so because of the authority that they carry, either professionally, socially, or monetarily, or all of the above. That is also true in international affairs. There are rule makers and there are rule takers. That's the bottom line. As a general rule of thumb, you tend to have those powerful five, which would represent like the United States, China, Germany, Russia, etc. Those countries tend to call a lot of the shots because of the economic clout that they carry and basically historical maturity that they have. They're hundreds of years old, as against Jamaica and the Caribbean countries that are still under 100 years old. So they have a lot more experience and they have a lot more economic clout. And then of course, the history of colonialism contributes to that. But with that said, in the space of CARICOM, there are 15 member states, and yes, Jamaica carries quite a bit of influence. And I want to pull back to mine. In the 1970s, when CARICOM was even being thought of in the first place, Jamaica spoke up. Michael Manley, Eric, trying to remember his name, Barbados leadership, Trinidad leadership, Jamaica spoke up on how the treatment of Cuba was going at that time. And because of that, it strengthened the relationships, because we were willing to say, no, we can't continue to treat them like that. They're next door to us. They're less than a few hundred miles from us. We can't continue to treat them like that, because just like current day, there were quite a few trade embargoes that was precluding them from some of the benefits that we were enjoying in the Caribbean. As a consequence of us speaking up, Barbados joined the Speak Up, Trinidad joined the Speak Up, and because we all started to speak up, CARICOM was formed. Of course, we started as something else first before it was CARICOM, but you get the point. CARICOM was formed 3 years later. Fast forward, similar thing with apartheid. As far as Africa, our Prime Minister spoke up about the treatment socially of people and allowing them human access to things, and because of that, other Caribbean countries came on board and it debunked the treatment, resulting in them having a stronger voice, and us to date having a stronger relationship with South Africa. And some of the benefits that we currently enjoy in trade is because of those historical speak-ups. Now, there are a number of occasions that you can look at it where Jamaica has led, and not just on a cultural standpoint. I can tell you without equivocation, a little bit of my law coming into place here, but Jamaica has often been the first to institute policy and legislations. I think the only policy that we were a little bit not the first out the gates is the sexual harassment policy in recent times, but a lot of the policies on recycling, treatment of human discrimination, we have been the first to do it, or we have been the first to speak about it, and it has resulted in action. So what does that tell you? We have a lot of influence and clout. So sometimes, we only have one vote at the UN like everybody, but let's ask yourself, if your friend came to you who you know knows a lot about econ and told you, listen, I think you should invest in this now, because
go do it.
Go do it. And that's ultimately what canvassing is about.
It's almost as if the person to come to the table and say, I want to hear what Jamaica has to say. They're leading the conversation in that way. But as I listened to you just now, one of the things that came to mind, and perhaps a question as well, is that what are some of the challenges the Caribbean nations face in achieving full integration? I don't know if Crystal wants to
Well, I want to just jump on first question and then answer that one. I think when we look at our cultural impact, if we start on a national level, yesterday was Jamaica Day. These are not things that just happen overnight. These are things that we use to influence or young people influence or adults to say, as a country, we need to have national pride. We need to have a day where we just wear our colors, wear our bandanas, show up as Jamaican people, around one common goal. When we even look at our history now, this is Reggae Month. Reggae is a grassroots musical experience that was once maligned and seen as not the best standard of Jamaican culture. And now it has become integrated to a point where we platform it and dedicate an entire month celebrating Dennis Brown and Bob Marley and having awards and concerts. And we look at our national heroes as well. These are all intentional movements to platform Jamaica, and that we did nationally to show that Jamaica is important, not just in our day-to-day hustlings and taking the bus and going to work and going to school, but how we view ourselves in a national sense. Taking it wider now, we have our impact in culture and sports. Even now, I think they recently wrapped the Winter Olympics. Jamaica's a mainstay for bobsledding, which is absurd when you think about it, because we are a Caribbean country. We're in a tropical zone, but we made a showcase years back. It made such a global impact that people still cite Cool Runnings as a cultural movie and a moment for people to recognize that Jamaica had more than just sun and surf. That we had talent, or sports. Usain Bolt, Shelley and Fraser Price. Even when they were retiring, Shelley was retiring last year, the amount of fanfare she received, the amount of weight she holds. Usain becoming the cultural ambassador for the country and for tourism. And then when we even look at how Hurricane Melissa, how people mobilized for Jamaica.
To come and support Jamaica.
Not just diasporans, international people, Starlink sending down free Wi-Fi stuff to us and supplies and funds. And so there is something to say that culture has power. It has influence, and it allows us to put ourselves in a position where we can advocate for ourselves, not just because of our vibes and our food and our culture, but the way that we make people feel, the way that we help people along. And I think, Teresa was making the point in terms of how we came together as a bloc speaking about external things and things that were affecting the region and internationally. But I think we can also utilize it in terms of our internal affairs. We recognize that climate change is something that we can no longer ignore.
And in our faces.
Yes, and so we use that same soft power
to turn attention to say, hey, we are doing our part. So we instituted the plastic ban. We're doing our thing nationally and with our legislation. What can we do on a regional level, on a global level, to make sure that our countries are protected and our small island developing states are preserved? But going to your question, Damien, can you just repeat it for me?
Right, so that the challenges that Caribbean countries, the Caribbean nations will face, so how does that help in terms of achieving the full integration when you look at all of what they're facing?
Right, so I think you guys were talking about it earlier in the first segment. Our size is always a factor. So we are one of the largest in CARICOM in terms of population size. And that has both benefits and detractors in terms of how decisions will impact the wider nation states, right? So even though we have certain matters that are good for the region, we have to remember that we're still sovereign states, and a sovereign state is a nation, and a nation is filled with individuals. So there may be a regional perspective that would be the best course of action, but then in the individualistic sense, will it put bread on the table? Will it deal with the bread and butter issues for people?
Which is what Teresa was mentioning earlier.
Right. So if I might jump in here, she made a very valid point about how the culture influences a lot of things, and I want to state here that there is such a thing as social currency. Apart from actual dollar and economic power, there's social currency, and what we spoke about earlier is really just that. If someone who you know carries a certain level of social clout, they will carry currency. Sometimes, this thing we say in Jamaica, good friend better than pocket money, and that is so because, quite frankly, sometimes in lieu of money, if you have the right people, you don't need the money. You understand? And so when it comes to the regional operation of things, our culture, our political position has always given us great social currency. We have the ability to influence. So in terms of the things that are happening to us individual, what we will find is if we look at the issues that are continuous through the Caribbean countries, we have more in common than we don't.
That's true.
That's the truth. But we tend not to see that. We tend to focus a lot on what makes us different rather than what makes us the same or unique. And I think if we should rally around that, we will find that we get a lot more support, because again, even though each of us has one vote at the UN, that's 15 votes in CARICOM. If all of us vote the same way, that's 15 votes. That's a big difference. That's a block. And not just that, we're not accounting for the relationships that individual countries may have with other countries that care about their well-being, which means that you have, the OAS, which is also having relationships with some of us, which might be minded to vote our way because they care about the trade relationship or the social relationship, and in that way, social currency also matters.
I like how you mentioned social currency. I think in a good way to wrap up or put the icing on the cake on this discussion to our CARICOM youth ambassadors, past and present, is diplomacy in the digital age now, because I like how you mentioned social currency, Teresa. In a world of instant headlines and social media reactions now, because you mentioned social currency, I think your parting words can be for our listeners and viewers. How should Jamaica then manage its tone and its messaging then in this era where, since these relations, these connections, these social currencies so effective for us though, we know, as we said though, in this age of instantaneous, especially with the social media and the digital technologies, everything is out there with the click of a button. How is it then best for Jamaica to manage its tone and messaging in this age as part of its diplomatic relations? Starting with your CPC and then Teresa.
Well, I think that, a measured approach, providing context and being the bastion of information and accurate information will always do well for any nation to ensure that misinformation is, dealt with as quickly as possible. I think one of the best approaches that have been taken is that all of the different ministries, not just GOG as a whole, but the ministries themselves have social media pages. They are very forefront on the pages. They make sure that that is the source. They are accredited on the specific social media sites. And there is, whether it's a press release or a video or whatever the situation is, there is always time taken in the messaging. And I think time taken in the messaging, accurate information, having solid sources where, I know I can go to this particular page and get this information straight from the source will always all go well and to the benefit of our nations as it relates to experiencing and encountering the social media landscape.
I like that. Measured approach.
All right, so I would be remiss of me not to come here and speak a bit about leadership, since that's my area of work.
Yes.
And I will say this, when it comes to managing how we speak, leadership has always been measured by your ability to speak up when it matters. we must speak when it matters. And when does it matter? It matters when it affects all of us. It matters when it affects some of us. And what does that mean? Obviously, we can't be on both sides of the fence at the same time, and yet we are. Because we have economic relations with the US, we have with China, we have with our Caribbean neighbors, etc. But we have to determine that it matters, not just when it affects me, because Martin Nemolza, I believe, don't quote me on that surname, I'll give you the right quote, but he says something to the effect that when they came for the communists, I did not comment. I didn't speak up because I was not communist. When they came for the trade unionists, I did not speak up because I was not a trade unionist. When they came for my neighbor, I didn't speak up because it wasn't me. And then when they came for me, there was no one to speak up because I did not. The importance of speaking up matters a lot before you need it. We must begin to look at when we speak, how we speak. And I think our Prime Minister has been trying to toe the line between lending the support of the country and the region, but also trying to manage the economic impact. And ultimately, people will take the decisions that they take. You can't control that. But it matters to us about our Caribbean neighbors, because ultimately, the other powers are making decisions that are in their best interest. So we must manage our tone in the context of knowing when it matters. And yes, it matters what is happening to Cuba. Yes, it matters because they are our neighbors. Yes, it matters because when Jamaica was in a problem with medical needs, they sent doctors. Yes, it matters because when we needed access to social services, they have sent nurses. When we were in COVID, they sent machinery. It matters because they are our neighbor. So we have to speak up. So we manage our tone based on when it matters.
It matters, boy, a treasure trove of knowledge and wisdom, and it just shows why, you know, when you're passionate about speaking about good things, you can get good information. And you know, we here at your Talk Up Radio Show family are just so very proud of the work that you have both done, past and present, and continue to do in advancing regionalism, regional integration, and speaking especially about CARICOM, and just educating and sensitizing us today. And I think that was the purpose of, you know, the Talk Up Radio Show, to edutain, to educate, and entertain at the same time. And I think both educational and entertainment we got today from this discussion today. So I want to big you up, congratulate you. I know that your Talk Up Radio Show family is always here behind you, supporting the work that you're doing. And we look forward to finding out more about the work that you're doing. Can you leave us now, though, CPC, with, you know, where we can find out more information? I know Youth Jamaica is the standard page, I just said, management that the Ministry of Education, Youth, Skills and Information uses to promote the work of the youth ambassadors. But where else can we get information?
CARICOM also has a YouTube page for us. We have one for Jamaica, we have one for CARICOM.org. Also, I just want to say I'm grateful that we were able to launch our national project on aquaponics at Clancarty High School.
Nice.
So that's really leaning into our climate resilience, having a system that is fully self-sustaining and circular, that provides food and fish for the students at Clancarty High School.
Nice.
So we have that on social media as well as in train right now in terms of our national project. But as I said, Instagram, I think they're also on all the platforms. But Youth Jamaica, as you also pointed out.
Direct them through Youth Jamaica on the different platforms, and also the Jamaica CARICOM Youth Ambassadors pages that we can find out more. And Teresa, Miss Everything, Miss Woman Extraordinaire, tell us where we can get more information about Characters Canvas on social media specifically.
Absolutely. So you can definitely get more information via our website, www.characterscanvas.com, and of course my personal page, www.teresacamille.com, and of course on Instagram, guys, Teresa Camille or Characters Canvas on Instagram, definitely. And just a shameless plug here, I am launching my book in November, Operation Strategy, and I am looking forward to even more conversations like this about why leadership matters. Although we're speaking about leadership in the context of corporate environment, leadership at every level matters, and so that's what Operational Brilliance will be about.
I like that.
And if you never remember anything else, you know, it matters. Just remember that part matters.
I love that.
And we're going to have a podcast segment, Malik, because this is beyond the 2 hours.
Trust me, it's like you're racing against time.
I just want to give a quick big up to my sister.
Of course.
Wow.
That's right.
Oh yeah, so it's Crystal and Camilla Paris Campbell. They're twins.
She's celebrating 7 years at the bar today.
Woo! Congratulations!
Yes, and she was also on Talk Up You when it was a TV show.
Yes, she was.
Nice. So I just want to big her up on the Talk Up You radio show as well.
Excellent. Love that.
Excellent.
So thank you, ladies, for joining us. Teresa Camille Thompson and Crystal Paris Campbell. I'm going to mix them because of the twin.
Yes.
For joining us today and really just educating us on CARICOM, regional integration, regionalism, and where Jamaica should find its place in this diplomatic space. You have to help us take the break now. Talk Up Youth, Giuseppe.
Talk Up Youth.
We still come back.
876 is my area code, try to know that. Jamaica. So if you never know, now you know. The best in the world is Jamaica. Corn and gold, black, green and gold. The island is a masterpiece from the creator. So we just St. Thomas, Aruba, Montego Bay. I up the flag them from anywhere. And love I give from above. I am so the eternal Father of this. From you see me, you know if you ask one question. Jamaica in my blood.
Every great project starts at Creative Building Finishes, Jamaica's only choice for the best tiles, best bathrooms, and best kitchens. Whether you're designing, building, renovating, or selecting materials for your next project, we offer exceptional quality, standout designs, and expert guidance you can trust. Visit our showroom in Kingston or Traxall, or explore full range online at www.creativebuildingfinishes.com. Creative Building Finishes, your beautiful finish begins here.
More parts, more brands, same Berts you trust. From Audi to BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Volkswagen, we bring premium German service and suspension parts straight from Europe to Yout. No waiting on imports, no delays, just quality parts available when you want them. Visit any of our locations, Camp Road, Malines Road, or Hagley Park today. More parts, more brands, same Berts. It hurts if you don't check Berts.
So some of you have been listening longer than I've been talking on radio, so this is our way of keeping it strong together. Join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club on Patreon and stay with us.
Hey my peeps, get this on the regular. Your HIV status if you consider. The least you ever test once a year. Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Cause it might not show up on your timeline and you learn too late, so you're out of time. A progressive future, mandatory. Real long life, our story. You hear?
Remember, update your status in a real life. Go HIV test today.
Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Real long life, our story. Real long life with Yout, coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
The news cycle doesn't end on Friday. It needs perspective. That's why every Sunday at midday, Nationwide 90 FM presents The Week That Was. A clear, informed review of the top stories that shaped the past week, what really mattered and what lies ahead. No noise, no theatrics, just analysis, context, and clarity. The Week That Was. Sundays at 12 p.m. Understand the news before the week begins. Only on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
Singers, songwriters, producers, this is your chance to write your name into Jamaica's rich music history and also win $3 million cash in the JCDC Festival Song Competition. And it's now so easy to enter because what? We gone digital. It's all online. Just log on to jcdc.gov.jm, fill in the form online and upload your entry. Closing date March 31. Enter now.
For a limited time, Home International Limited is offering a special price on select Korean colors. You can't miss this. Choose Korean for your kitchen or bathroom countertops. Korean is durable, beautiful, and long-lasting. Solid right through and no sealing necessary. Visit us at 104 Constant Spring Road or telephone 876-755-1970 or 276-6448. Open Mondays to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Hey! right now. Now is the time. Youth for chat and youth for act and youth for unite right now. No silence, you youth. You have to stand for your rights now. Now is the time.
Tell the people. Heal yard man. The yard man down. Respect. I want to yard. I respect and love man to all Jamaica, no matter where in the world. One eye, like I own you. No matter where in this world I go, I am a Jamaican. No birth papers I have to show, cause I am a Jamaican. No matter where in this world I go, I am a Jamaican. No birth papers I have to show, cause I am a Jamaican. I have Jamaican walk, them here Jamaican talk, cause I am a Jamaican. Them here Jamaican chat, them say Jamaican bop, cause I am a Jamaican. Now everywhere in this world I go, I am a Jamaican. I no ID I will have to show, cause I am a Jamaican. Them say, Lord, what a boy can run, that is a Jamaican. When them see the Rasta man from Jamdong, that is a Jamaican. Dressmaker, baker, tailor, shoemaker, market, woman in a donkey cart. Rivers and streams, fountains and mountains. In a Jamaica we have it all. Now anywhere in the world I go, I am a Jamaican. No birth papers I have to show, cause I am a Jamaican. When you hear that music I play out.
Welcome back to the Talk Up Your Radio Show, the voice of the Jamaican youth, right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the best revolution station in Jamaica, and like I always say,
the world.
Across the world. We had a great conversation since morning as we talk about our focus today is Brand Jamaica, small nation but big voice, and we've been looking at regional integration, and we saw how Teresa and Crystal led that conversation for us. But one of the things that we want to do now as we wind out our discussion today, you know, Malik, we're joined by a special guest. I'll tell you who she is in just a minute. But one of the things that we always hear our Governor General say, and I'm paraphrasing, that we must use the things that are right in Jamaica
to fix what's wrong with Jamaica.
Right. And as we enter into this conversation, you also see some of that coming out in terms of how we can fix things and make it better as we talk about Brand Jamaica, right? Because when people come here, they must experience Jamaica in totality. But then, of course, we talk about the good thing. So this afternoon we have with us Stacey Miranda, who is a fusion reggae artist from Clarendon, Jamaica, known for blending reggae with country, jazz and dancehall influences. Ooh. And she officially entered the music scene in January 2025 with singles like Life and Call You Mine, and gained recognition with her remix of Mankind featuring Richie Spice. Nice. Stacey Miranda is passionate about social connection and compassion, and Stacey's latest single, People Don't Care, confronts growing indifference in society and encourages empathy. And this was produced by Billboard charting John FX Crawford and arranged by Carl Morrison. And the song has sparked meaningful discussions about humanity and kindness. If it's one thing that we need around here, you spoke about the regional integration of the money. We need that too, but we need kindness. More of that in Jamaica. So welcome, Stacey, to the show. And I know you're here as well for the IMC and the music conference. Oh. Nice. How has that been since you've been here?
It has been very insightful. I've met a lot of amazing people. First, I'd like to say thank you for having me on your show. Welcome. And thank you for listening. The IMC conference has been wonderful. I've learned a lot from it, and I look forward to use what I've learned into, the music
Yeah.
I love that. Your music, based on what Damon has been saying, really blends reggae with jazz, country, and dancehall. How do you decide which influences to bring into a track while keeping your own signature sound?
I like that question. When the lyrics comes to me, it comes to me with a melody. And with that melody, I'm able to say, oh, wow, this is reggae. This is mix. Or I discuss it with the producer I'm working with and say, hey, this is what I'm hearing. And I sing the melody. And, we just figure it out from there. Grab the guitar, the piano, whichever instruments. And then throughout it, I would say, I hear some jazz in this, or, something's going on here, and that's how that works.
Because what I like is it should be such an interesting way to try and blend two different or distinct or signature sounds into one, and that's part of your brand.
And that's how art is.
True.
Mixing art with culture.
I love that because we were talking earlier about Jamaica and Jamaica's brand on the world stage. Which I think because Jamaica is renowned for its reggae specifically or its dancehall, people forget that there are other aspects of music and ranges and genres that you can merge into making signature sounds.
Exactly, and I believe those other parts should be highlighted. I've seen great saxophonists here, trumpet players. It's just, that medley of musicians that's here should be highlighted as well. We do have jazz in our culture.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, we do have country in our culture. The first time I learned about the banjo, I was 9 years old in Clarendon, and there were a group of musicians who played at funerals and nights, and they had the banjo, they had the shaker, they had this box. What's the name of that box that had little metal?
Yes, I know the box you're talking about.
And then there was the man who played the saw.
Yes.
I mean, what tones are you hearing? What rhythms and beats? So. Yeah.
It's also a part of our culture that you want to dig into. I know I've seen that you've performed at major events like Hearts for Jamaica, Relief Festival in Florida. You've shared stage with legendary artists like Third World, Mr. Vegas, Ernie Smith. What lessons have you learned from sharing stage with reggae icons like these on your journey to becoming an icon yourself?
Several lessons to be learned. I know every day within the music industry is a learning experience, and if you're not opening up yourself to that, then you're in the wrong business. It helps you to grow, it helps you to mature and to really become the artist who you want to be. And that's my journey right now. I'm trying to be focused on who I want to be, not what a label wants me to be. And I'm glad for the opportunity that I'm able to do that right now, and having mentorship and challenges are there as well. But it has been several lessons to learn as well, but it's really hard. It's not easy. So writing the music and recording, that's not so hard. It's learning about the music industry itself.
What has been the reception like from a Ernie Smith, a Third World, a Mr. Vegas when you come in there now as the new kid on the block, or whatever better term?
So far, no bad face. I'm not going to lie. Ed Robinson, Joanna Marie, they are the ones who connected me, put me on that stage with those legends, and I'm very grateful, you understand? And the approach is how you approach people, and you're building new relationships. So you have to not leave yourself too exposed, but at the same time show that, hey, this is who I am. I'm not going around any corners. I'm not trying to tear down anybody. And even if you encounter challenges like that, you just don't focus on it and just,
laser focused on what you want. And I like the fact that you mentioned, mentorship as a critical aspect of being in the music industry, because you don't go in there knowing everything, and even those in there don't know everything, but what they can share to help enhance you, I think makes a difference.
No, definitely. Also,
No, go ahead.
For example, I did a tour last year where we were going to several bars on the island. We went to Spanish Town, we went to Clarendon, we went to some bars in Kingston. And I played 2 or 3 of my songs and invited the community to come in and listen and say, hey, what's your feedback on the songs? You know, and they gave honest feedback, and I liked the vibes and the atmosphere. That, you know, music is also community involvement.
I like that.
And you want them to really listen to what you have to say. So those are some some YouTube shorts. They call them bar promos.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was really fun doing as well.
Well, it's good to hear that you're making that kind of progress within the industry. But, you know, one of the things that we want to highlight, especially from this discussion, one of your recent songs.
People don't care.
People don't care. And the fact that, because when we spoke, Stacey, you were talking about the whole matter of young people, especially not wanting to show empathy anymore. And not just young people only, but people in general, as we talk about showing kindness. What inspired you to really zone in on this issue? Because music is not only the art itself, but the message that is being communicated. So talk to us a little bit about this.
Yes, the message in People Don't Care, it highlights, you know, social empathy. It highlights conflicts in the communities, in relationships, you know, economic growth as well. From the moment the song starts, you know, and transitioning from verse to bridge to chorus, it just doesn't just focus on people itself, but the entire community, the world itself. Like, listen, you can't just be in your phones like that. As youths, you need to pay attention. You need to come out of the phone, just hold your head up for a little bit and just see the person next to you. Or, you know, that's how you build relationships, you build growth. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing with technology now, but it makes us, we've become more self-focused, and I think that is a big issue.
Connection. We need that connection again.
We do.
We do.
I love that. I see that you've mentioned, you know, for example, the bar hopping series or the little mini series that you've been doing, because music is also about community. And I see you've also focused a lot on intimate performances in South Florida. How do smaller venues help you connect with your audience and bring your message to life?
For me, I'm comfortable as I'm starting out.
Right.
You know, yes, I was thrown on the stage and stuff. I did what I could do, but I don't have the shows all the time. So I need to build that momentum. I need to build my audience, you know, I need the message to be out. So I have a technique I do every day. I try to connect with 10 people. I have small cards that I pass out with my picture and the back on it of a QR code. And I said, hey, even in the Uber, if I make it my point of duty to connect with 10 people. If you do that's 70 people for the week. You understand? And then you do that for the rest of the year, you know, you're building a connection. And I'd say, hey, check out my music, let me know what you think, leave a comment, just by doing that.
There's a different, you know, strategy that you bring towards that. You talk about networking and building
and connection.
Yes. I know we all want to think big, and there's no problem with that, but the small steps,
jumping it bit by bit, can make a big difference. I like that.
One of the things I probably want to find out from you, Stacey, because we're almost out of time and we have to wrap. But you spoke about your background from, you know, growing up in Clarendon. Mitchelltown, Clarendon. Perhaps there's another young lady in Mitchelltown, a nearby community, or another parish for that matter. They've always admired females within the industry and how they have grown, let's say, to prominence. Right? And you're on that trajectory for that young girl that's listening, and could be for a young man as well who wants to get into music.
Not leave out the men.
Exactly. Let's not leave them out at all. So, what message, as we wrap, would you want to leave with that young man, that young lady, right now?
I'll say this. The message I'd like to leave with them that has resonated with me was when Wayne Wonder looked at me and said, listen, do it from the heart. Everything else will fall into place after.
Yes.
I love that. Where can we find and watch and keep up with your journey, Stacey Miranda?
An engineer, please cue that song for me.
Yeah,
please.
we need to hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, couldn't have understood it.
You can find my music on Spotify, iTunes, all the platforms, and on social media for Instagram, TikTok, Stacey Miranda.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us. And we just wanted to know that your Talk Up Your Radio Show family is here supporting, bigging you up, and keeping you in our eyesight. Can you see? We're going to call you back again for another series. Maybe we're going to have a music series.
Yeah, man.
Artist series, artist galore. We'd love to see that. So introduce our song now, sir.
Right. So this song, we're talking about People Don't Care. And this is coming to us from Stacey Miranda. Let's hear a piece of it before we head on out. People Don't Care, that one from Stacey Miranda. And I like that part, about, having that smile on your face. Sometimes, the other things might not be going right in your life, but the fact that you are alive and you're able to see a new day. Yeah.
No, to you for say, hey, what's up?
Hi,
Or
what's
hi,
up?
good evening. Hello.
Yeah, man. And I'm since a man's career far away.
Yes, it does.
Right. So we love that. Thank you so much,
Thank you for
Stacey.
having me.
And we know we're winding down Malik. We're talking about the social currency, the social
We heard a lot, but
differences.
I think what was the core of our episode today about brand Jamaica,
Right.
small in size but big voice, is connections.
That's right.
Connections is very important, and even it spilled over now into our, our entertainment segment. We're picking that up. Connections are important, leaning into your resources while still maintaining your own individuality.
Do it from the heart and
from the
remember it matters.
You love those plugs. Do it
I
from
love
the
those
heart.
plugs.
Remember, it matters. So we're making way now for Design Studio with Karen Booker and later outside with Pepita because we are on the hour now. But we just want to say thanks to our special guests for the show today. Big up and thanks to Teresa Thompson, Crystal Paris Campbell, Stacey Miranda for really just engaging today in what it means to be brand Jamaica and leaving us with many, many, many pearls of wisdom. To executive producer Empress Golden, big up Mama E each and every week because without that vision, we wouldn't have this platform. And to our in-studio producer, finally back from vacation, Dr. Suave himself, Damian Scarlett, and our nationwide 90 FM executive team family for keeping us locked into the station you can trust on our YouTube as well. To our viewers and listeners each and every week, big up yourself on your YouTube page. Big up yourself. I'm getting to him, sir. Big up yourself. We have to big up my fans first.
Okay.
Big up yourself on our YouTube page. Big up our listeners who listen to us each and every week. And of course, to the gentleman, I can't even say the Rasta man, but the gentleman that keeps you in the airwaves and keeps us on the airwaves, our studio engineer, David McNeish. Big up yourself, Mr. McNeish. And so on behalf of the entire Talk Up Your Radio Show and the Nationwide News Network family, we want to wish you a safe, restful weekend while remembering that it is all about the connections in life that makes the difference. So talk up youth, Miss Effie. Talk up youth. Until next week. See you then.
How many do you greet along the way? Do you hold your head straight and not smile? You ever thought if they were alright? A way for not to acknowledge they exist. Don't be shy, it's not a serious risk. Be aware
Commercial spaces for you. Parks and attractions for you. Housing and residential developments for you. Beautiful rental properties for you. Improving quality of life through infrastructure development across Jamaica for you. The Urban Development Corporation, making development happen for you. Brought to you by the Urban Development Corporation.
UDC for you. We're the town of the
We love showing you the fun side of Jamaica. New places, good food, real vibes, and pure adventure.
Sweet Jamaica. Sweet Jamaica, we now left ya.
If you enjoy exploring with us, come closer. Join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
We now left ya. Ain't nothing like this sweet cool breeze that jammed up.
Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales at nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
Tune in to Cliff Views Online with George Day.